Hello
and
Reds
welcome
fans.
to
Welcome to the
YNWA Transfer News, your
News
ultimate
channel.
source for
Don't
all
forget to
Liverpool
like,
FC
comment,
transfer
and
news.
subscribe for your
Our first
daily
news
latest
is this. Jamie Carragher shows his true colors with reaction to Liverpool's late winner. Jamie Carragher was left absolutely ecstatic by Rio Ngumoha's dramatic late winner as he proclaimed it one of the greatest games in Premier League history. Isak'S Lfc's men clinched a stunning victory at Newcastle on Monday, with the youngster bending home a sensational 100th-minute strike to seal all 3 points. Ngumoha's decisive moment arrived after Newcastle had remarkably fought back from 2-0 behind despite being reduced to 10 players following Anthony Gordon's dismissal. The goal predictably sent Liverpool supporters both inside St. James's Park and across the nation into raptures, with Carragher proving no different. Behind-the-scenes footage captured the Liverpool legend charging around the Sky Sports studio, while he could be heard exclaiming, "Oh my God! Oh my God! Wow, you lucky, lucky Redmen! Oh my God! Football, what a game!" So Boschlei let it go. What is going on? This is one of the greatest games in Premier League history! After Carragher had composed himself, his post-match analysis proved somewhat more harsh toward his former club. He argued that the Reds simply hadn't earned their triumph in the Northeast. "I think what we've seen tonight is possibly one of the worst performances from a winning team and one of the best performances from a losing team," he said on Sky Sports. "Liverpool won't care right now. Of course, they'll be absolutely ecstatic. But Eddie Howe's men tonight were absolutely outstanding. It did seem like it was over at 2-0, but that crowd, that intensity they played with, I actually fear what the score might have been if it had been 11 versus 11. I think Newcastle would have won the game. They were far better than Liverpool in every aspect." Meanwhile, Carragher was also scathing about a pair of Liverpool stars regarding their displays both at Newcastle and throughout this campaign so far. He remarked, "Mo Salah and Ibrahima Konate have had really poor starts. Konate has been all over the place. I want my center-back to go and win that. He was more interested in grabbing his arm. He was not at the races at all. I absolutely shudder to think where Liverpool would be without Virgil van Dijk, who has been absolutely outstanding." Liverpool will return to action this weekend in what represents another challenging fixture. Slot's players welcome potential title contenders Arsenal to Anfield on Saturday. Why Arne Slot missed huge Ekitike goal for Liverpool against Newcastle. Hugo Ekitike scored so early into the second half of Liverpool's game against Newcastle that even Reds head coach Arne Slot did not see the goal. There will have been thousands of supporters at St. James's Park who missed the 46th-minute strike as they returned from halftime refreshments and toilet breaks. Slot was also yet to return to his position in the dugout, but jogged up to join his coaching staff in the moments after the goal, presumably having heard the celebratory roars from the thousands of Liverpool fans in attendance. The Liverpool head coach looked delighted as he clasped hands with Sipke Hulshoff and put his arm around Giovanni van Bronckhorst. Ekitike has now scored 3 goals in 3 appearances for his new club, having also netted against Crystal Palace and Bournemouth earlier this month. The Liverpool boss said he missed his side's second goal, 20 seconds into the second half, as he was still making his way back to the bench. Speaking to BBC Sport, Slot adds, "I don't think my team has scored a goal so fast. I kept on walking and my assistant said we had scored." Despite the strong start to the second half, by the 57th minute, Liverpool found themselves back at square one. Bruno Guimaraes met Tino Livramento's cross from the right and steered a precise header into the bottom corner, restoring parity and setting up a tense finale despite Newcastle's numerical disadvantage. The Magpies' persistence paid off again just before the 90th minute. A long free kick was launched forward, Dan Burn rose to flick it on, and substitute Osula calmly tucked the ball past Alisson to stun the visitors. But Liverpool's response was immediate. Premier League debutant Rio Ngumoha, fresh from the bench, pounced to restore the lead and write his name into the story of the night. On the atmosphere at St. James's Park, Slot said, "So many things happened, where it was complete chaos, where the fans were so loud and so there for the home team, and our fans tried to help us as much as they could. It was an unbelievable atmosphere, and for us to stay strong in that atmosphere for such a long time is worth more to me than when we play every single time out from the back and we have a 4 or 5-0 win. These wins, these mean more to me than when we play good football, because tonight had, for me, nothing to do with tactics or good football. It was a great game to watch, but not because of tactics or good football, but because for every single second of the game, everybody was on the front of their seat. Alexander Isak's mistake has cost him, as Liverpool negotiations wouldn't have been a problem. Alexander Isak's costly transfer mistake has been laid bare as the striker looks set to miss out on his dream Liverpool move. Isak's future has been up in the air this summer, with the 25-year-old striker pushing to join the Premier League champions. The saga has turned toxic, with Isak initially being left out of the Magpies' pre-season tour of Asia before Liverpool's. A $110 million bid for him was rejected earlier this month. Following that, it was reported that the Swede had told the club he wanted to leave, which led to him training alone and being absent from Newcastle's Premier League opener against Aston Villa. On the night of the Professional Footballers Association Awards Gala, which Isak didn't attend, he released a bombshell statement saying, "Promises have been broken and trust has been lost between the club and player." Newcastle responded with a statement of their own, voicing their disappointment, but crucially, insisting that Isak would be welcomed back to the first team fold whenever he was ready to rejoin his teammates. As of yet, that does not appear to be the case. Isak was unsurprisingly not involved in Monday night's fiery Premier League clash between Newcastle and Liverpool at St. James's Park, which the Reds won 3-2 in the dying seconds despite a valiant comeback from Eddie Howe's 10-man side. Isak's absence hasn't earned him any favors with his former supporters, who have labeled him greedy in chance this season. But according to a report on Sunday Supplement, the entire transfer standoff between club and player could have been avoided this summer if the forward had pursued his move differently. The report claims that Isak could have outlined his reasons for wanting to leave at the start of the summer, instead of waiting until August, by which time Liverpool had already signed Newcastle's favored potential replacement, Hugo Ekitike. Publicly thanking the Magpies supporters and staff could have also gone a long way. It is reported that Newcastle were open to letting him leave and looked to explore the conditions of his sale. That was, firstly, 2 players being brought in, and secondly, an acceptable transfer fee with Liverpool being negotiated. But the conditions of sale haven't been met, as Newcastle have not brought in 2 players, and the club will not leave themselves short with just a few days left in the summer transfer window. Newcastle had lined up several players as potential replacements in the event that Isak left, all of whom have joined rival clubs. João Pedro was one such target, with the Magpies having seen a $50 million bid turned down for the Brazilian before Chelsea swooped in with a better offer to secure his signature. The Blues also successfully signed another of Howe's targets, Liam Delap, who preferred to join the Stamford Bridge side. Newcastle then turned their attention to Eintracht Frankfurt's Ekitike, also being pursued by Liverpool, despite their interest in Isak. Newcastle fell short in that race too, reportedly seeing a $70 million bid rejected as the Frenchman joined his preferred club in a $79 million transfer. Following that, Magpies bosses raced to sign Benjamin Sesko, making a second bid worth $69.7 million before the Slovenian chose Manchester United. On Monday night, prior to the Liverpool fixture, Newcastle Chiefs held clear-the-air talks with their want-away talisman in a last-gasp attempt to convince him to stay. According to Mail Online, Newcastle co-owner Jamie Rubin and a PIF delegation held the talks at Isak's Northumberland home in an effort to smooth things over. It is suggested that a new contract would potentially be at the heart of discussions, should Isak promise to stay. Arne Slot's Liverpool signing brutally slammed, as Jeff Stelling asks, "What was he doing?" Jeff Stelling called out summer signing Milos Kerkez as he ripped into Liverpool's defending against Newcastle. Teen sensation Rio Ngumoha emerged from the substitute's bench to grab a dramatic 3-2 win deep into added time as the Reds edged past the 10-man Magpies on a balmy night at St. James's Park. Fellow substitute Will Osula's goal appeared to have earned a sensational point for Eddie Howe's side, who saw former Everton man Anthony Gordon dismissed in first-half added time and found themselves 2-0 down early in the second half after Huge Ekitike's well-taken strike. But 16-year-old Ngumoha's classy finish in the 10th minute of stoppage time ensured the Reds maintained their 100% winning start to the season. Despite the win, Slot will not have been pleased with his team's substandard defending, which was apparent in both Newcastle goals. First, Bruno Guimaraes comfortably outjumped Milos Kerkez, the $40 million summer signing from Bournemouth, to nod home before Osula pounced on a punt forward from Nick Pope to bundle the ball home. The manner of these goals has prompted a damning verdict from TalkSport host Jeff Stelling and former Rangers forward Ali McCoist. Stelling said, "They cannot win the league defending like that. Ibrahima Konate had another nightmarish game. Kerkez, what was he doing for the Bruno goal?" McCoist then said, "He doesn't jump. Is he trying to shield him out the road? It's a good header from Bruno. He does well, but I don't know what he's trying to do. The second, it's just an old-fashioned long ball that they don't deal with." Stelling added, "And the high line for that free kick from Pope, it was crazy. Why have you got a line that was so high? It was asking for the flick on and the player to run through, and that's what they got. It was a great finish to his credit, even if he's been overshadowed by the headlines about the 16-year-old. But Osula finished that really well. Slot was thrilled to come away from an extraordinary encounter with all 3 points, though he conceded his team had been fortunate to secure them. When questioned about Ngumoha's dramatic late winner, he said, "It's of course special for him to score a goal in a moment like this. We know how it feels. Last season, we conceded at Newcastle in the 89th minute, and now we were the lucky ones because that's what we were. We were lucky to get a win over the line. This means more to me than when we play good football, because tonight had, for me, nothing to do with tactics or good football. It was just a great game to watch, but not because of tactics or good football, but because every single second of the game, everybody was at the front of their seat." Meanwhile, Howe was asked if Gordon's impending suspension made Alexander Isak's desired move to Liverpool less likely. The Newcastle boss said, "Yes, of course, if you do the maths, we're running out of options in that position." Next Liverpool transfer moves a step closer as ambitious 15 million transfer bid is tabled for Man City star. Mark Guéhi's potential move to Liverpool has potentially moved a step closer after Crystal Palace launched a move for a Man City defender, according to reports. The Reds are still looking to bring in another center-back to Anfield this summer, despite the signing of Giovanni Leone from Parma earlier this month. Leone is seen by Liverpool as a player who could become a long-term successor to Virgil van Dijk or Ibrahima Konate, whereas Guéhi would be able to push the duo for their starting roles immediately. It has gone quiet on Liverpool's interest in Guéhi in recent weeks, with the Reds' transfer news dominated by potential bids for Newcastle United striker Alexander Isak. But transfer expert Fabrizio Romano recently revealed that a deal for Guéhi is absolutely on as Liverpool look to sign a new centre-back before the September 1st deadline. Romano said last week, "Crystal Palace would love to keep Guéhi at the club. That's very clear." Steve Parish, chairman of the club, also said that if he wants to sign a new contract, he can stay. Yes, but Guéhi has a clear intention not to sign any new deal and to try a new chapter, and that new chapter is Liverpool Football Club. I keep saying that. I maintain my position. Now, we have to see if Liverpool and Crystal Palace can agree on a deal this summer. My understanding is that the two clubs are still talking. The two clubs are still in conversation, and the deal for Guéhi is absolutely on. Despite signing Giovanni Leone, you remember what I told you 2 weeks ago, Leone and Guéhi, Guéhi and Leone, and that remains the case. Liverpool want to sign both. Will they be able to reach an agreement with Palace? We will see, but the conversation is still ongoing. There have been reports that Manchester City have joined Liverpool in the race for Guéhi, but it could actually be the citizens who hold the key to the transfer in a different way. Thank you for watching. Like and comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Like and comment, subscribe.